All right, three, two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tuned Into Tennis, or a YouTube stream of Tuned Into Tennis. I'm your guy, Miles David, back again to talk and tune into more tennis. We're in that stage of the tennis calendar where we're post Roland Garros, feeling all the feels, especially after this past one in 2025 that really culminated in a terrific championship weekend. And we have like 1 foot and a half into Wimbledon, because we all know, or you should know, Roland Garros bleeds into Wimbledon really quickly, and there's only 3 weeks of a grass court lead up, and we're right in smack dab in the middle of that. There's actually some grass court tournaments as we record this on a Saturday that are playing their final on Sunday. So this right here, what we're about to do is kind of like a in between fun tennis content to get you out of Roland Garros mindset into Wimbledon and just kind of, having fun with tennis like we normally do. And to help me do all of that, actually, this is his brainchild. So he's going to be leading most of this because, when two ball brothers are in a room together, sometimes fun things can happen. So welcome to my ball brother in Christ, Mr. Miguel, a.k.a. New Balls, please. How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's the most wonderful time of year. It's
It is.
green. There are no Christmas trees involved, but it's green. Grass is here. You get to see that chalk dust up on the green.
Chalk flew up.
Face. Yes, like it's the most beautiful. This is the year where I get most excited.
Same. I just made like a little mini video on Instagram about like how Wimbledon coincides with my birthday a lot of the times, and it just feels good, even when there's heartbreak. Like,
Yeah. I'm typically, like, I always know it's Wimbledon time when it's close to 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always on the grill on the 4th of July with my iPad or a TV outside watching Wimbledon.
Do you do that? I just saw somebody post like some grilling tricks. Do you take a onion or a potato on your on a spork or like on a fork and season the
Yes.
grill before you do that?
Yes.
What's the benefit of doing that?
Well, I don't know if I guess it's kind of seasoning it, but it gets all the old stuff off.
Oh.
And they have like the metal grates,
Mm-hmm.
but some people say
You don't
that
want metal in
there's
your
like
food.
micro metals, small pieces of metal can get left there and then end up in your food and all that stuff like that. So it's, for me, once I saw that trick, I was like, all right. Because I saw some people do it with like paper, like newspaper. I've seen people do it with all kinds of stuff, but seeing people do it with onion probably might be the best thing. And it gives the grate some flavor, I guess.
a little flavor.
A little extra.
I see you got your that's actually a really dope hoodie, by the way, but I see you got your Lacoste on, supporting the
Yes.
one and only, the GOAT, Novak Djokovic.
No. So actually, Venus did a collab with him last year.
She sure did.
I don't know if like this is the actual like Roland Garros hoodie, but I don't know if that was part of her whole collab with Lacoste, but nothing to do with that man. Nothing to do with
Man,
him.
did you see his most recent comments? I don't know I don't know if this was like filmed or recorded before Roland Garros, but it's been released after Roland Garros. And I think I posted some other outlet, like, or a lot of outlets actually have clipped it up about how Djokovic didn't feel loved, and like doing that whole thing about like, oh, how he was the third person to come into the show and the Fed Rafa show, and
But
he never
what
felt
have I
loved.
always said? He literally confirmed what I've said for years.
That he wants to be loved, and he's
He
upset that it
wants to be loved like
Mhm.
Roger and Rafa, and he doesn't get it because he was an asshole
Yeah.
for a good bit of his, like, the early years of Novak. And really, even if you want to come up to like now, it's not as much now,
Mhm.
but those early years, it's like, yo, how can I root for this dude?
It's crazy because when I was bit by the tennis bug back in 06, I had a lot of respect for Federer and Nadal, but like when it got to that 2008 range, when it was just them winning slams, I was like, okay, it would be nice for a little switch up. So when he came on the scene, initially I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I remember back in the day, he used to use a Wilson racket, and there was the end blades, and I still love
Wilson gang, man. That's all I
I,
played in high school.
I wouldn't say I've graduated from Wilson, but I've been my mind has been widened to not just Wilson. Because growing up, if it wasn't Wilson, it wasn't me. But he played with that end blade, and I had a soft spot for him because he was just new, and he was mildly interesting. But man, from 2008 to 2025, a lot has changed, and I just
once he started stacking up them grand slams, it was like, all right.
It was boring, man. I just saw a graphic of just how dominant. I mean, we all know they're dominant, but that big three, specifically from 2004 all the way to the end of 2023, only a handful of people and maybe not even a full handful, not even five full fingers, not named Roger, Rafa, and Novak sniffed a Grand Slam, won one. It was Murray, who they try to sneak in, respectfully as that big four. Murray, Del Potro, Wawrinka, and then Safin won one in 2005.
So
Chilich.
I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I think it was my cousin actually. And he was like, yeah, man, I watched that ceremony and they tried to sneak Andy Murray in there. And I'm like, I wouldn't say sneak. But I feel like you can't tell their story without Andy. Now,
I feel like that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Now,
it's not a big four, but you can't. They wouldn't have the rivalry that they had without going through Andy Murray.
And also, especially at Wimbledon.
Mm-hmm.
But also, some people will be like, oh, well, if you're going to add Andy, you got to add Stan. No. No.
Stan had a 3-year pocket. He won a slam in 2014, 2015, 2016. Yeah. Those were his peak prime years, and he played Novak Djokovic better than pretty much anybody else did in that 3-year span. He picked up his rightful accolades. It made him a Hall of Fame, a Hall of Fame champion he will be whenever he actually puts his racket up, which is teaser, which is why we're here. We're talking about some people that are going to be retired.
I did want to talk about, though. That is something I did want to ask you.
We're gonna get into it. But Wawrinka, he didn't have sustained excellence, and you can see it at his career at Masters level, even the 500s and 250s. He didn't have going into a tournament. You need to be scared of. It and I don't want to say he lucked up because he definitely didn't luck up in his slams, but he just wasn't on anybody's radar until he was. And Andy Murray was on people's radar going into tournaments. This is the one he could win. This is the one. And Wawrinka didn't have that quite same energy. And Wawrinka himself will be the first to say, you can't include me in any kind of big three conversation. They did sustain excellence that I did not do.
Yeah, I think people just kind of did it as a way to try to undercut Andy Murray's presence at that ceremony. Because I was like, you can't tell that story without Andy Murray. That's just what it is. Especially the fact that he was able to win his home slam twice?
2013, 2016.
In the midst of that run of those three, it's yeah. And at the end of the day, he gave them fits.
World number one, ATP Finals champion.
He beat Novak in one of those finals.
Finals at every single slam.
Yeah.
Again, I see the I don't like riding the fence that often, but I see the argument of including him and making it a big four and kind of excluding him. But regardless, I think we both can agree. No matter how you tell the story of the big three, Andy Murray is a subset of it because they all respect him. They all do, for sure.
Wait, so damn, was there a big? Well, not on the women's side. It was Serena, Sharapova whenever she pulled up.
I think the closest we got to a big three, you mean on the WTA side?
Yeah,
was when Serena and Sharapova and Azarenka were her biggest rivals. And then a lot of people are going to push back on Sharapova being a big rival because she was and wasn't. She was a rival in the fact that Serena knew she was up for that match, but the results, it was a lot of times it was nowhere. I actually, how YouTube will tell you, or if you got autoplay on YouTube, it'll just play something and my YouTube algorithm knows I love tennis down. that 2012 Olympic champion or the Olympic gold medal match with Serena and Sharapova, man, that came on, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know if she had a flashback to that 2004 Wimbledon and was just mad as hell that day, or I don't know what. We still need to do a study on what Serena was feeling at that 2012 Wimbledon because everybody was on, like she was on team with everybody. Everybody got it, especially Sharapova in that gold medal match. It's actually quite astounding. Like
So
if you just sit back and watch it, it's just like, damn, like what is
so
she doing?
so speaking of one-sided rivalries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that epic match we watched last Sunday.
Roland Garros,
Um
2025.
so that will put Carlos and Yannick at Carlos is 5-0 against him in finals, correct?
In the last 5 matches, I think he's 5, but maybe in finals as well. Well, no. They haven't played that many finals.
So okay, so he's won his last 5 matches.
Mm-hmm. Against Yannick Sinner.
Because I think
From
it was something on
2024
like
and 2025.
Isner and them's podcast. I guess they were like he's lost to him in like 5 finals or something like that. But anyway, so they were basically saying like, is it really a rivalry?
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's not like so you could say like Serena and Maria isn't, or you can make the argument that it's not a rivalry because
mm-hmm.
the gap is so wide
Mm-hmm. In
as far
achievements
as like
and when they played each other. Yeah.
Thank you. But I don't think it's that far between those two.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, I and it's like people are trying to like discredit Yannick and feel how you want to feel about Yannick. I'm not gonna discredit. The last 2 matches I've seen them play has been top tier tennis. The kind of tennis I've been begging to see from Tsitsipas, Zverev, Felix, all them dudes from that quote unquote lost generation. Like that is the type of tennis I've been begging to see for probably the last 6-7 years from that particular generation. Because you're gonna get that from Novak, you're gonna get that from Rafa, you're gonna get that from Roger.
But the other guys has been hit or miss.
Others,
most miss,
no.
yeah.
So it's literally like we had the conversation where it's like it just skipped a generation. So yeah, people were trying to have a conversation of like, oh well, is it really a rivalry? And I'm like,
it's a rivalry. Even the Roger and Rafa rivalry had ebbs and flows where one was just winning. Like I'm sure in that rivalry, Rafa went up 4-love in a short span, and Rafa went up, or Roger went up 4-love, and Rafa went up 4-love. Like that happens in a rivalry. Just because
there was a narrative that Rafa couldn't beat Roger at one point.
Yeah, like even just because Carlos has beaten Yannick the last 5 times they played. Now, if he does it the next 10 times they play and he just washes them, then maybe we could have that conversation. But as it stands now, like they are carrying the ATP tour as far as watchability. And Carlos has 5 slams. Sinner has 3. They both have multiple Masters 1000s. And when they play each other, which is the most important part, it is highly competitive. That's absolutely a rivalry for sure.
It's top tier tennis. Like,
yeah.
That's just what it is for me because they played what at Madrid.
I don't think they ever played in Madrid.
Was at Rome.
They played in Rome, the Rome final this year.
That was a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Carlos kind of took it in that because I think Yannick won the first set.
No, it was straight sets for Alcaraz, but that first set, that first set, Alcaraz had set points, or Sinner had set points. Excuse me.
Yeah, and then
that's good. And Alcaraz kind of went away with it. Sinner, you could tell he, after that 3-month ban, he had, playing 5 matches in a row. It kind of catches up to you if you're not always in competitive mode. So yeah, I can't wait to see where that rivalry goes. And similar to the Roger and Rafa one that it kind of keeps getting compared to. As that rivalry matured, different people stepped in and kind of was like, hey, y'all are obviously very good, but my game matches up to one of y'all's better. So like put me in the mix. Like, could that be Jack Draper? Could that be Arthur Fees? Could that be Fonseca? Like, who is going to have a one-up on both of those guys in time? That's why I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
I really need my boy to get it together, but he's 18. We'll figure it out.
Who? Fonseca? Yeah, he got time. If health is on his side, he got time.
Yeah, because him and I mean, even like watching Ben Shelton today.
Yeah. Ben's in that conversation too.
And now I give him credit. He hung in there with Zverev. But it's just certain things where I'm like, dog, you gotta get your return game better. Like
He plays American.
Right. Somebody was saying that he's still playing college tennis. It's just shooting everything back, like trying to go for it so early in points. I'm like, you don't have to go for it every time.
I'm not mad that that's his like natural instinct, but
Yeah.
I do want to give him credit because it, like, you know, I've only known of Ben Shelton since like 2022. 2023 was when he made his big splash, and
This
here
is
we are
what,
in
year 3 on the tour?
yeah, here we are in 2025, and when the rankings come out on Monday, he's going to be a top 10 player. Like that's pretty incredible,
Yeah.
you know. So I give him, even though he gets slack from people for like playing college tennis or whatever their issue is with Ben
Gets
Shelton.
flack from Novak fans. Those are the only people that I really see like bullying him online. Like
I
y'all
take
losers.
I take all of that with a grain of salt. He's good in my book, and I can't wait to see how he kind of puts his spin on this modern era of tennis and goes up against Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. Because as they are getting better, I think he is too, and I can't wait to see how that unfolds in the biggest matches. So,
got you.
All right, Miguel. Let's yap about something different.
All right.
Let the people know. Let the people know what we're here for and what your brainchild is and how we're gonna get this thing going for content today.
All right. So with the advent of dedication videos to players across sports and tributes and all of that stuff like that, my quote unquote brainchild has been, after watching Rafa's really, really great dedication from Roland Garros, you know, dedicating 14 championships, how he was great. How many matches has he lost there?
3 or 4.
3, yeah, like less than 5, I do believe. So yeah, so I came up with a list, or we're going to do a tier list of players who are either retired, on their way to retirement, and a few wild cards that are current players on the tour.
Okay.
And we're gonna discuss what kind of send-off they deserve at this point in their current career, or you know, at the end of their career. So let's Miles, you can pull that up, I do believe.
So basically you're saying if a player has retired or is we kind of feel is close to retirement or in that stage of their career, we're gonna tier on a scale of like the Rafa Nadal send off to like a
So
net
there's gonna be 5. There's 5 categories, right?
Okay.
So most people with tier list is S tier, A, B, C, D, F, right? So we're gonna rank it from Rafa's send off, which is probably the best I've seen in tennis. I thought it was immersive. I thought they got the crowd involved. The praise dance that they did. I thought it was really dope. Now, I was present for Serena's first, or really her tribute at the US Open in 2022. I thought it was dope. I think they could have done more, especially since she's from the United States, but whatever. Never really got a send off for Roger. Well, I guess Labor Cup. Labor Cup was cool.
Because you know those pictures of him holding hands with Rafa float up every 2 days on the tennis Twitter and internet. so I feel like Roger had a moment for sure.
So I just never really and I'm somebody, I sat there like in tears watching it, especially when he hugged Mirka and he was crying and all that stuff like that. My issue was you're sending my man off at Labor Cup.
But it elevated Labor Cup too at the same time.
Yes, but
I feel like that's what he wanted.
I still think Wimbledon should do the same thing they did for Rafa at Roland Garros. I think he deserves it at Wimbledon, but that's a whole nother thing. So that's the 3rd tier. 4th tier is
go through the first ones again. First tier
Rafa, is Serena. So Rafa tier is S tier, top tier, perfect. 2nd tier is Serena, solid, love it, whatever. Roger is cool, but I need more. Like I kind of expected more. Then we have cake and ice cream in the locker room. Hey man, good career. Dap you up. Hey, let's go get some cake and ice cream. Have some Lay's plain chips in the back, like
a little tequila if you want to be grown.
Exactly. And I'll see y'all in the parking lot.
Okay.
And then the lowest tier is Instagram story post. Hey,
I'm done, y'all.
Hey, calling it a career. I did enough, whether I won a lot or not. I'm good. I'm done. Whatever.
Starting
And
my
that's
family or retiring with my wife and kids or what have you.
appreciate it. Love my family. Love my kids. Love my fans. Hey, I might be podcasting next week.
This is so niche in my tennis brain, but you probably don't even know who this is. But there was a guy that played for the United States, but then switched to Mexico. His name is Ernesto Escobedo. He did something very similar to that, like Instagram posts. Like I'll see y'all on a podcast in a couple of days. Something very similar to that.
Hey man, I'll catch y'all in the break room in a few. Hey, that's just what it is. So yeah, so we're gonna go. I don't think Miles has seen the entire list. I think he's kind of looking at it now.
Yeah, I told Miguel to surprise me so I can get my real authentic reactions and where I think these players should be in the tier of retirement ceremonies.
Bingo. All right. So we're going to start off with one Sasha or Alexander Zverev.
We got him that close to retirement?
No. I'm not saying he's one of the wild cards.
Okay.
I just kind of want to see, where we're at. I know how I feel. But where would you put him at?
He really loves his home country in Germany, and I respect him for basically whenever there's a tournament in Germany, he's playing there. If he ends up not winning a slam, which he probably won't, we'll see. Then he should probably just do a retirement ceremony in Hamburg. I think I watched a YouTube video where he said Hamburg is his favorite place to play, and I think he's from very close to Hamburg, Germany.
He's won it twice, right?
I believe so. I think that is correct. I know for sure once. I'm not 100% sure about twice, but that sounds about right. I mean, he goes to every tournament in Germany. He goes to Munich, Stuttgart, it's like all of them. So yeah, if he stopped his career right now with those 3 slam finals and one he probably should have won against Dominic Thiem, he probably could do a cake and ice cream in the locker room because he's not that well liked amongst tennis fans. And I don't know if he's left some indelible mark to where a tennis tournament needs to have like an outright ceremony for him.
Okay. So we're going to put me personally, I agree. You said cake and ice cream in the locker room, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. So
they could bring a cake out for him on a tournament, but that's about it.
Yeah, at Hamburg. Yeah,
at Hamburg. Yeah, bring the cake out.
Ice cream with some
little shakers.
With some Hawaiian punch. Just pull it out. All right, so we're gonna put him there. We're gonna drop him there. All right. Next up would be one Caroline Wozniacki.
Wozniacki's interesting because I feel like she had a retirement ceremony. I remember the 2020 Australian Open. She had that. She was flying or had the Denmark flag behind her. She had won the Australian Open 2 years prior. And then she kind of has a comeback 2 years later and still is considering maybe playing tennis. But then as we record this right now, she's literally pregnant with her 3rd baby. So it doesn't feel realistic that she's going to have this, return to top 30 or 20 form. But I do appreciate her contributions to tennis in the 2010s because it almost felt like whenever Venus and Serena weren't there, she was kind of holding down the fort, or Sharapova wasn't there, she was next up. So okay. I kind of want to give her C tier Roger Federer
type.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I get it. So she's won 30 titles in her career. She has a Grand Slam title to her name, 2018 Australian Open, and she won a WTA Finals in 2017, and she hit number 1 in 2010. So I would give her that.
It's a Hall of Fame career, not by overwhelming metrics, but it's definitely a Hall of Fame career, and I feel like she made a significant mark in 2010s women's tennis for sure. She was consistent as all get out. Like, she gave you some drama. Her what she lacked in as far as like watchability in tennis, she made up for like just general aura off the court and kind of on the court at the same time. So she's okay in my book, and she has a good relationship with Serena. So
Exactly. One of the besties.
yep.
All right. So our next candidate for nice little birthday celebration, I'm kidding, retirement celebration, would be our good friend and brother, Joe Wilfred Songa.
I like the one he actually had. That's one of my favorites.
That
After
was
his
at Roland Garros, wasn't it?
It was Roland Garros 2022. He lost first round to Casper Ruud, and I wish Songa would have won that 2008 Australian Open.
Who did he lose that year?
Djokovic. That was Djokovic's first. I wanted Songa to win that so bad.
I just wanted him to get one, just like I want Gael to get one, but
that's not happening.
yeah, especially at this point. So
yeah, in the hindsight, that was absolutely Songa's best opportunity. It was he didn't have to. Well, actually, he did face Rafa in the semifinals and absolutely rocked Rafa in that semifinal. Like, I think he must have lost 6 games total. And then in that final, he came up against the spring chicken and Novak Djokovic at the time. I just wish he would have got. I wish he would have got that one, because that was the closest he ever got. That was his only final.
And he has
got
18 titles.
Semifinals. Yeah. And he has, I believe, 2 Masters title, one in Paris indoors and one in the Canadian Open. I'd give him the same tier as Wozniacki. I'd give him like the same. The ceremony he had at Roland Garros back in 2022 was very fitting for sure.
Okay, and that was very similar to Rogers at maybe a step below a little bit, because Rogers
he deserves more than cake and ice cream in the locker room.
Absolutely. All right. So next on our list is someone with 41 singles titles,
Okay.
11 doubles titles. She won 4 Grand Slam titles, 2 at the US Open, 2 at the Australian Open, and 2 doubles titles in Grand Slams, which are at the French Open at Wimbledon. So a Grand Slam, career Grand Slam adjacent. And
not really.
she won the WTA finals 3 times actually. And that will be our good sister Kim Clijsters.
Oh, I was just watching a podcast of her. Kim Clijsters, she won the US Open 3 times and Australia once.
Yes.
Kim Clijsters, we don't have a weird relationship, because I actually really appreciated. She doesn't get enough credit, actually, I think, for like what she did to contribute to the athleticism in women's tennis. Like, those splits that she did were absolutely incredible, and the way she was consistently able to do it on hard courts, like, and people take that for granted now and do it all the time. So I definitely appreciate Kim Clijsters. I didn't love that she has the head-to-head that she has against Venus Williams, especially at the U.S. Open, because she was a pain in Venus's side at the U.S. Open, which made her a pain in my side at times. And she was on the opposite end of that really, really iconic, also equally terrible moment of Serena 2009 U.S. Open.
Yeah, what a time that was.
Yeah, I would give her because she won the US Open 3 times, and I actually don't quite remember what her retirement, actually, because she kind of set this up for herself. She retired once in 2007 to start a family, came back in 2009, won that US Open in great fashion, played from 2009 until, I want to say, 2012, retired kind of quietly, didn't really have anything, came back in 2020, didn't look like, she looked like a shell of herself, really. Didn't get a match win, and then it kind of just faded into the sunset. Because she's a Hall of Famer for sure, I'll give her a Serena type send off at the U.S. Open for being the 3-time champion there.
I was gonna say, love Caroline, love Joe Willie. I think she's a step above. So yeah, I will put her up there with Serena's type of. Where would she get that send off though?
The U.S. Open,
U.S.
for
Open.
sure.
Okay, she
Yeah,
won
for
3
sure.
times. All right, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so good list so far. We have one in shame via his picture, and the other Grand Slam champions. Well, except for one, but we love Joe Willie.
We do.
All right. So our next candidate would be he has 30 ATP singles titles throughout his career,
Hmm.
2 Grand Slam titles. He also won the ATP Finals titles twice and reached the top rank in the ATP, holding the number 1 spot for 80 weeks. And he won the Davis Cup in 1999 and 2003.
Hmm.
Also won Indian Wells twice. And that would be one Leighton Hewitt.
Hmm. I hadn't started watching tennis during Leighton Hewitt's heyday, so I
Same.
kind of got the scraps of his career there
Yeah.
afterwards, which weren't amazing. But hindsight tells me that he was a problem to deal with for a lot of guys in the era that he played, and he's one of those perfect examples of getting in and taking advantage of the moment when it presents itself, because he got his 2 slams right off the heels of the Sampras and Agassi, prime Agassi, and right before Roger like really revved it up. So I think his timing was impeccable. His game wasn't that flashy, but he made up for it with like a lot of grit. And he probably feels a way about not copywriting the whole "come on" thing, because
Yeah.
he's synonymous with that. I would put him. I'd give him a retire, even though he never won the Australian Open. I'd give him a retirement ceremony at
Yeah,
Australia.
straight off. I was just about to say that. That's
Yeah,
exactly what I was thinking. Because I'm like, are you gonna do that you definitely not gonna do it at Wimbledon.
because people forget that he's a Wimbledon champ.
Yeah, exactly. You're definitely not gonna
Yeah,
do that at Wimbledon. You might
mm-mm.
probably not gonna do that at the US Open.
It's
I
Australia.
just He was Australia's sweetheart, even
Hmm.
though he never won it. So
I'd put him in
I'll put
Roger
him up
tier.
there with Joe Willie. All
Yeah.
right. Now, one of the OG serve bots. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, one of the OG serve bots from Canada.
I know who you're talking
Career
about.
8 titles.
Hmm.
One in Brisbane, St. Petersburg, Washington, Bangkok, San Jose twice. Chennai and San Jose. Um, Current rank. Did not know he was still on tour. 441 in the world. Career high rank is number 3 in the world.
Really?
Now, yes. Like I said, 8 titles. He reached the final at the 2016 Wimbledon Championships,
Mm.
and he's reached 4 Masters 1000 titles. And
Finals.
yeah, not actually won them. All right, so that would be our favorite Canadian brother. Well, not brother, but our favorite Canadian, Milos Raonic.
I actually just was thinking about Milos Raonic because I made a couple tweets about serve bots and how like it's a great thing to have a great serve, but it unfortunately hasn't. None of them have dominated. Like the best performance of a serve bot was John Isner, or the best trophy a serve bot has won in the past 20 years is John Isner's Miami 2018 title.
They can't move.
Yeah, a lot. I think they're getting better. Like taller guys with big serves are getting better at moving. It just it's not culminating into success at the very very highest level all that often. And for Milos, unfortunately, where he is in his career right now, I feel like he missed the window for an actual retirement ceremony. I'm sure Canadians feel differently because he did kind of usher in the respect that wasn't there as far as Canadian representation in tennis. He and Bouchard kind of ushered that in, making Wimbledon finals. I respect that, but where it stands in his career right now, I'm unfortunately going to have to give him an Instagram
Instagram
post.
story.
Instagram post, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like I wouldn't. I'd be more shocked if a tournament outside of Canada gave him an actual retirement ceremony than if he just came on Instagram or some social media platform and said, "Hey guys, I'm officially retiring." That's what I kind of fear he's going to do.
He just feels like an early exit every time.
Mm.
Or, maybe get to the fourth round, but outside of that, like deep into the second week, it just, especially at a Grand Slam, it just never really feels that way.
Fun fact, I'm gonna let y'all into my life. I specifically remember in the 2014 US Open when Milos Raonic played Caden Nishikori. I believe it was a fourth round match.
Oof.
I had pretty much just started experimenting. I'm gonna keep this PG-13 with herbal essences.
Okay.
And I remember being in my apartment. I was an undergrad. I think I was like a junior or something, maybe a sophomore. I don't know. It was 2014, over a decade ago. And that night match with Raonic and Caden Nishikori had me glued to that television.
It went 5, right?
It went 5. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a 5-set tiebreak in the 5th. And I'm a lot of it probably was because I was on herbal essences. But that match was so good. I vividly remember it. I vividly remember where I was, like I said, what time of the year it was, like all that. And I was like, damn, they are playing some really good tennis.
That
And
reminds
I
me
think they have mutual respect for each other too.
that
Raonic
reminds
and
me
Nishikori.
of the match that Roger played against I think it was Van der Zandsloop.
Roger played against Van de Zandsloop?
It was either him or was it Kevin Anderson? They played a marathon at the Australian Open. I can't remember who it was. It was like it had to be like 2019 or 2020.
John Millman played.
John Millman, that's what
John
it
Millman
was.
played a really long match against Federer at the
Yes.
2020 Australian Open.
I literally went to sleep and they were playing, and then I got up and got to work, and they were still playing, and it was still like high level tennis
Yeah.
because Roger had to come back. So I think it was down 2 sets. So yeah,
Sorry,
know.
Milos.
Don't know why I put Serena on here. We're just gonna put her up here.
Oh,
Right.
well, she actually deserves the Rafa one, but
Actually, yes, she does deserve a Rafa one. We're gonna put her right there. We don't even have to dig too much into that one. That's crazy. The fact that she didn't get one.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
she got a great retirement ceremony. It's just that I don't think she was ever going to leave the sport with some kind of like indelible like crying. Well, she did cry at her own ceremony, but like I don't know. Her relationship and tennis's relationship with her was just so heavy sometimes
yeah.
that it didn't feel like Rafa's, but she deserved and absolutely kind of still deserves a grand
Bigger
send off, a grand. She, if anybody, if anybody in tennis doesn't deserve like a monument on Arthur Ashe Stadium, it's definitely Serena Williams.
Absolutely.
For her accomplishments and how many U.S. Opens she won, the absolutely classic matches she played, and it does feel like they owe her that because they gave her hell every other year that she played it. Like,
Ridiculous.
she deserves something at the U.S. Open. She got. I want to give respect
She
to the fact that
deserves
she
a
got.
statue outside.
She.
To be
I
honest,
really hope we live to see a time where Serena gets some kind of statue like that. But just knowing tennis and the way that the people in tennis, like the really really big dogs, the way they make strings move, they always have like a but and a caveat with Serena. Like she was cool, but and if you take Serena out of tennis, you have next to nothing over the past 30 years. So she doesn't get the respect that she deserves.
So our next candidate
Mhm.
is the current tour's version of Caillou. He has a grand total of 12 titles.
Mhm.
Just won Dubai and Monte Carlo. You could see him on a tennis court near you having a temper tantrum or yelling at the line judge for any plethora of reasons, especially during clay court season.
Mhm.
My fondest memory of him was losing in the French Open final to one Novak Djokovic
Mhm.
after being up 2 sets to love.
Mhm.
And was that 2021 or 2022?
2021. I'm thinking about the same person.
Yeah. I remember very much where I was that day at the Strawberry Patch with the girl I was dating and her daughter at the time.
Mhm.
and watching that match yelling in the passenger seat because I'm like, yo, I need him to win this match.
Who we
So
talking about?
one Stefanos Tsitsipas,
He must be a wild card because I don't think he's actually going to retire
very
anytime
much a wild
soon.
card. Very much a wild card.
Cake and ice cream in the locker room. If he were to stop hypothetically right now, and I don't even know what tournament he would. Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo would absolutely be
Well, he only
where.
won Monte Carlo once.
No, he won Monte Carlo 3 times.
Are you
He won
sure?
it in
Oh, he
positive.
did. Yeah, he did. He did.
Not you showing your casual side.
Wait, because I'm just like, wait, what? Oh, but
He did.
Mallorca, like Leon, and all right, I got it. Oh, got it. All right.
Yeah, Monte Carlo would be where he has something of a retirement ceremony, but it probably would just be cake and ice cream on the court.
It would very much be cake and ice cream on the court or yogurt, but yeah. So we're gonna just leave that there and move on to someone that one of our favorite people in your community, in the community, holds near and dear to his heart. Let's pull up her stats. And I'm sure you can kind of guess, but
I actually can't tell because the picture is so small.
so this person has won a total of 14 WTA singles titles throughout her career.
Mm-hmm.
This includes 3 Grand Slam titles, 2016 Australian Open, 2016 US Open, and the 2018 championships at Wimbledon. She also got a silver medal.
Oh, brother.
So I'm gonna let you guess because I know you know who it is at
It's
this point.
Angelique Kerber.
Yes.
Lord knows I usually have a soft spot for lefties, but not when it comes to Angelique Kerber.
Not at all.
I am not her biggest fan, and nobody would ever accuse me of being such. Now that time has passed, I'm willing to say that she deserves in Germany or something like that, probably not on a Grand Slam stage, a retirement at the Roger Federer type level, where people are gathered in an arena to pay respect to her. I just know that during her playing career, oh brother, she was a absolute menace. Just and not like in a dominating way, but just like a why won't you go away type of way.
Messing up people's draws, like literally messing up people's draws. Because if we had like apps like we use now to like pick draws and stuff like that, I would hate to see her coming. Because there's players, and I want to name them now, but there's players on the tour now that I'm just like, you are a bracket destroyer. Like you would literally destroy somebody's bracket. Like just because you would literally be like, oh well, Serena, Sharapova, this person, that person, and then here comes Kerber,
Angelique Kerber,
for no damn reason.
I just since I'm telling stories, I remember where I was when I first watched the Angelique Kerber match. She played Serena Williams in the 2007 US Open opening round. And it was an interesting ceremony because they had both Venus and Serena play the night match, which I don't think they've ever done since, as having 2 women's matches in the night session. But I think it was a special anniversary of them I think it was the 20-year anniversary of Arthur Ashe Stadium being opened.
Gotcha.
Because 1997 was when it started, in 2007 or something like that. And Kerber went up against Serena, and it was a little bit of a scrap, and it was mostly a scrap from my perspective because Serena hadn't played, I don't think, much at all from Wimbledon to the US Open because she was dealing with the injury. So you kind of got the scrappy Serena performance that she was trying to find her footing. If you would have told me that Angelique Kerber I saw in 2007 would have ended up winning 3 Grand Slams, and 2 of those slams beating Serena in the final, I would have laughed at you. I would have been like, there's no way this left-handed pusher who barely goes up for the serve and bunts her backhand is going to win 3 Grand Slams. But lo and behold, she did. She gave Serena all she could handle. I think the mixture of the lefty craftiness, the fact that she just pushed that serve in sometimes and threw off Serena's rhythm and had legs for days, made her a tough out for the best of the best. She just was never my fave to watch because it just felt like, I don't know, a backboard.
Similar to Iala and
yeah. But
literally
I
that high school served that right over the net.
Out of respect for what she accomplished with so, I don't want to say little tools, because she was talented in her own way. She just wasn't, her tools didn't really jump off of the screen to me. Mm-hmm. I'll give her the Roger Federer tier of a good retirement send-off in Bad Homburg or something.
Shouts out to the red dress.
Didn't even know she owned one.
All right. So our next person has 15 WTA level singles titles and 12 doubles titles throughout her career. This includes 3 Grand Slam singles titles, 2019 French Open, 2021 Wimbledon Championships, and a 2022 Australian Open. Mm-hmm. She won the 2018 US Open doubles title with She Who Shall Not Be Named. And additionally, she achieved the WTA singles #1 rank for 114 consecutive weeks. And that
the #1 doubles rank?
No, singles.
Oh, okay.
Can you guess who that would be?
Yeah, I can tell by this picture that they always put on tennis Twitter, Ash Barty.
Ash Barty. For me, I would probably put her right there with Roger, because I don't think
you're not gonna like my response.
Well, I don't think we got enough. Actually, I might bump her down because I don't think we got enough.
I got enough. And this is not disrespect to Ash Barty, but I think the way Ash Barty actually went out of tennis is exactly how she went. She did it with her Instagram post. And I think that's exactly where I would put her.
Well, there you go. So I'll just, like, I guess in a perfect world is what I'm saying. Like, it was like, I can't even front. That might be one of the most, like, forgettable careers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ever.
Like, and I say that
with no disrespect.
Yeah, like I say that with respect to her, because her game style was actually quite unique. The fact it was almost like a modern Steffi Graf. She had like a better than average serve for somebody who was like only 5'6".
Yeah.
She had great top spin and like pace on her forehand, and a slice backhand that stayed so low and really gave the girls fits. But like her getting to world #1 in that 2019 to 2022 period feels so forgettable. Her, like, I can't think of any Ash Barty match that I really need to go back and rewatch. Again, respectfully. And the way that she announced her retirement was a sit-down interview with Casey Delacqua in an Instagram post. And that was pretty much the last we've seen of her. Like the 3 Grand Slams she won, 2019 French Open.
I don't remember. Like,
yeah,
I remember it, but
she was just like, what the hell? Like, how did I do that? 2021 Wimbledon. It was played in the COVID year.
Yeah,
she played Pliskova in the final. It wasn't memorable. And in 2022 Australian Open, I'm sure that was huge for Australians, but like she retired 2 months after. After in the midst of all of that, she had retired from singles in like 2016 or so. She had done one retirement already. So I'm going to have to put her at Instagram post because 1, that's what she actually did. And 2, with respect to her Hall of Fame career, which I'm sure they're going to add her in recent in soon to come years, it just wasn't a super memorable career. Respectfully.
Is it 5 years in tennis too? That you have
I think you have to be inactive or retired for 5 years to be in consideration to be added to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, my biggest thing with Ash is, and as we both said, no disrespect, but it just feels like that might be the quietest Hall of Fame career probably ever. Not just on the WTA side, but it's like I came, saw, conquered, and now I'm out. Like, I don't need anything else. I'm not about to overstay my welcome. I got my money. I got my wins. Now I'm about to go, I'm now about to go start a family. It's
Yeah, that's
kind of
exactly what
like
she did.
it's kind of like the perfect world for Ange Jabeur, because that sounds like exactly, and that's no disrespect to Ange, but like Ange wants to like win, but also like, all right, I want to get out of the game and go start my family. So it feels like Ashley had exactly what Ange wants, and just all right, I'm out, I'm good, y'all have fun. Do you think she'll ever come back?
No, she's done.
Right.
And I think she just gave birth to her second child.
Oh yeah, she's
One coming back from one child is difficult, but I think once you get the second one, it's like, come on now.
yeah.
Like,
Get up, buddy.
I have so much respect for mothers, just simply for being mothers. That like I think I don't want to be disrespectful and say it's impossible to play on tour with two kids, because I think Tatiana Maria, who's made the Queens Club WTA Championship final and plays tomorrow, she has two kids on tour. So major credits to that. It's just highly unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely that a woman could play at a very, very elite level with
And
two kids.
she's a wild card, right? Or a lucky loser?
Maria, yeah, I think she came through qualifying.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right. So our next candidate for this tier list is a 19-time, and I'm surprised she won that many. 19 titles on a WTA tour, including 11 in singles. All right, 11 in singles and 8 in doubles. Her most significant title included the 2022 WTA finals. I'm sure you already know who I'm talking about.
Now I do.
2 French Open doubles titles, 2016 and 2022, and then a WTA 1000 title in Wuhan, Beijing, and Cincinnati. The greatest Nat to ever play, or one of the greatest Nats. And when I say Nat, it's just, again, a bracket buster, that one person that, your fave comes up against her and she just runs down on her and then goes and loses in the next round. Like Caroline Garcia, recently retired Caroline Garcia, actually.
She hasn't officially stopped. She
What?
just said she did that whole "this French Open is my last" thing, but she hasn't officially said when
Girl.
her last
Oh,
tournament's
wait,
going to
yeah,
be.
because she's playing U.S. Open and I'm assuming Wimbledon.
I don't know, but she needs to just stop at an Instagram post.
Yeah, we're just gonna. Let me go ahead and just drop
Like,
her.
I respect Caroline Garcia, because if I'm being honest, her game when it was
Really good.
clicking, it's actually, like her aggressive mentality, like I'm gonna take everything early. Her service motion was really, really impressive to me. Like, just her game was really, really clean and technically sound. I loved how aggressive minded she was. It's just that I hate that when she would do all of that winning, it didn't culminate to actually doing the winning when everybody was watching, and she didn't really take being a top contender well. Like, she got to world number 4 twice in her
Yeah.
career and didn't stay there very long, because it's almost like she immediately felt the pressure of like, oh, if people expect me to win and I can't do it, I only can win when I'm like ranked 70 or 80 and it's like on the comeback trail. And I like players, as good as her game was, I like players that are able to like sustain
Sustain.
excellence and sustain what it means like to be the chased, not necessarily just the
The
chaser. And
chaser.
I don't think she liked being the chased. A lot of girls got
A
like
lot of people cannot.
yeah.
Actually, people are kind of having that conversation about the current number 1 ranked woman in the world. I don't believe it, but
Mhm.
yeah.
And a lot of girls on the tour got like their first or only top 10 win against Garcia when she was in the top 10. So like,
Because I used to hate, and you know it. I used to hate seeing her in the same quarter or half of Coco, because it just, you knew what time it was whenever she had to come and see Coco, because she would really boss up.
mhm.
And then, or even Naomi, when Naomi was at like, her best or coming back, it was just like, oh, well, I'm ranked number 30 in the world. Oh, she's number 8. All right, cool. We play today. I'm about to run down. Like, and then end up losing to like the next person in the draw after that. And I'm like, you had all this here, but now like you pushed all that energy into beating the person that's higher ranked than you. And then now it's like, oh well, I'm going home now. Give me my check.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. I think she's done
Twitter
after
post.
the season. Yeah, but Instagram post, which she already did anyway.
Let's go through these not last couple, but I got a shrimp po' boy waiting on me.
Oh shit! All right,
That's my
so
rating.
let's do quick fire. Let's move it over to quick fire. All right, so I got my good sister Danielle Collins.
Like how she should announce her retirement.
Well, I mean, she's done it before.
Yeah, respectfully, because I've said this on different episodes of my podcast and stuff like that. My relationship with Danielle Collins has come a long way.
Yeah,
When she first came on the scene, I was like, "Who is this girl?" And then now I have tons of respect for her, what she stands for, her honesty, regardless of if you like it or not. She stands true in what she thinks, and her game is magnificent. Like that backhand, man.
yeah,
But unfortunately, when she announces her official and last retirement, it's probably going to be an Instagram post or some kind of
yeah.
social
9
media
times out
post.
of 10. I don't think she's
She's
done
still
enough
a
before.
Yeah, she's still a very accomplished top 10 player, and I think probably accomplished way more than she realistically thought that she could. And I realistically thought that she could when she first came on the tour. But a Grand Slam final, a 1000 in Miami, a Charleston win, top 10 player, like those are damn good accomplishments. It's just that she didn't really leave an indelible mark on women's tennis, but much respect to her. Much respect.
All right, next would be our glorious short king, Dominic Thiem.
Man,
Instagram
Teams.
post.
Dominic. No, I actually would give him cake and ice cream in
Really?
Austria or something. Yeah,
Okay.
because his pocket of success, like 2018, 2019, and 2020, he lived with the big three, lived
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 for
competed
sure.
with them in such a good way. Like that one-handed backhand, it was like, are you sure this is just one hand? Like it was just incredible. It's just that it kind of all came crashing down
Because
as
he had
soon
that
as he hit
wrist
his
injury,
peak.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
literally, you win a slam in 2020, and by 2021, you
you're
have the
done.
significant time off, and you're really never the same player.
Yeah,
Like it just all came down so quick for him. And unfortunately, I wanted to see him kind of keep it up. But he kind of reached his peak in the 28, 29, 30 age. And if, like there's a pro and a con with that. Like the pro is you probably have better professionalism and maturity to be able to handle all the things that come with being a high performing athlete because you're more
yeah.
mature. But you only have so much time in the window with your body being able to perform at such a really, really high level. So that's kind of where he got stuck. But I mean, I'll give him cake, ice cream, and streamers on a court in Austria because he accomplished quite a bit for a guy that never really was like a generational talent. He
Mhm.
worked his way up to that level. So I respect Dominic Thiem a lot.
Yeah, I think it was one of those short-lived peaks, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that I think we were kind of robbed of what could have been, and
Absolutely.
I think he was a great player for what he was. We got shafted, I guess you could say.
Who is he
Yeah,
hugging in that picture?
Novak Djokovic has his hand on the
Oh,
back of his
oh well.
head. All right, so next would be the face of like athletic tennis, and
I
that
see
would
a
be
black man.
that would be guy Gael Monfils.
Does he have a fade in this picture? Oh no. Okay.
Nah, he got the yeah,
The
almost
curly
outside fade.
the curly sponge cut. Uh, I am going to be respectful of how many times Gael Monfils has put the crowd to their feet and like made them feel like they are watching a spectacle, which I do think counts for quite a bit in sports. So I'm going to put him at some level of Roger Federer retirement ceremony in France at a actual stadium or tournament, and they give him his flowers that way, and he is able to speak on the mic and do all that kind of stuff. But
If Richard Gasquet was able to get that at the French Open, they better do twice that for Gael Monfils.
yeah,
Um,
he's the most recognizable French tennis
tennis
player of
player,
the last 20 years, I think.
probably longer than that.
Yeah.
Like, and even like he never won big, but his game transcended like tennis.
What you thought tennis was capable of producing on a
Exactly.
tennis court.
Him, Dustin
He did it. Yeah.
Brown, like those guys. So what I'm saying is like their game was appealing to people who don't watch tennis.
Yes, for
It's
sure. I get
like
that.
because I know people. Anytime somebody sends me tennis stuff from people that I know that don't watch tennis, it's always a Dustin Brown, a Dustin Brown clip of him at Wimbledon, or any kind of the nonsense that Gail used to do on the court. So I'm gonna put him up there because I think I'm not gonna say he's an icon, but I think his game was always entertaining and it transcended the sport, even though it never really amounted to anything like of significance. The man with the dark heart is our next
The man with the dark heart.
and that will be one Grigor Dimitrov. I'm gonna put him at cake and ice cream.
Yes.
Yes.
I respect him. He's also a player of the ilk of like, showmanship, incredible shot making, just unfortunately not able to break through in an era that was really hard to do so in the Big Three era, because his career basically was all of the Big Three's prime years. So that made it hard for him. But he's a lot of people's favorite because he's good looking, he plays good looking tennis. So pick a tournament and roll out the cake and ice cream for my guy.
All right, so we're gonna rush through the rest of it. We're gonna push through the rest of these rapid fire. John Isner.
Instagram post, which is probably what he did.
Yeah. All right, Marin Cilic.
Instagram post, because he's playing on the Challenger Tour now,
which is insane. Juan Martin Del Potro.
Oh, cake and ice cream for my guy. He was incredible at his peak, which was kind of short-lived, like Dominic Thiem, and he's like the last. I think he is the last. Oh damn, these hiccups. He's probably telling me to shut up. He's the last Argentine to win a slam. Damn.
Okay. No hurt. So, yeah. All right. Now, next up, Android 18, aka Carolina Pliskova.
Instagram post.
Yeah, for sure. Because she
can put it on Pinterest. That's fine.
Yeah, announcer from the parking lot. I got Marin Cilic up here again. All right, I forgot who this other person is. Richard Gasquet, he got his send off sadly, but I'm honestly gonna put him at
cake and ice cream. Cake and ice cream is fine. Cake and ice cream is fine.
All right. Riley Opelka, Instagram
post. You don't find his game? You don't like? Is there anything that you look forward to in Riley Opelka?
Riley Opelka?
Yeah,
I turn the TV. I literally turn the TV. There's nothing about his game that is remotely. I just don't like to see 7-footers lumbering around a tennis court. Like, I'm cool with like Gio is cool because he doesn't like it doesn't feel like he's lumbering. It feels like he's moving around the court. Like even Nick Kyrgios was 6'7", 6'8", like
6. I think Kyrgios was like 6'5". We're about the same height.
But Nick still moves around the court like a lot of the taller guys move around the court. Even like kind of Medvedev, he kind of moves around, but it's not as like fee fi fo fum as Riley Opelka or John Isner or any of those guys. So for me, I'm just anytime Riley Opelka's on the TV, I'm turning it, to be honest.
There's something about his candidness that I do appreciate, I have to say.
Yeah, even when he's wrong, I appreciate it. But
even when he's wrong, he feels his convictions are his convictions, and I respect that to
it's like Charles Barkley
to a certain degree. I think it might be a little awkward because he's so tall and like a little lumbering, but I think his opinions, although I probably won't agree with them, there's probably a whole like demographic that would love his opinions as like an analyst.
Remember what he said
commentator.
About doubles players?
Yeah. There's a bunch of people. I mean, that was kind of wrong and loud and wrong.
Very wrong.
his honesty is refreshing in a world where like people tend to do that behind like pictures of their cat. He just says what he feels, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So our next, I couldn't find a picture of her because the first picture that came up was her doping prescription.
Oh,
Simona Halep.
I equally have respect for Simona Halep and equally don't, because I think she egregiously doped to get the achievements that she did. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
If the doping scandal would have never came down on her head, then the conversation about her was a player who the conversation would be a player who punched above their weight and did more with the
Underdog.
underdog and kept persevering. But unfortunately, it's now she knew the chips were stacked against her because of her lack of height and lack of
Yeah.
power, and she basically had two legs and grit, and she felt like she probably had to dope, and still doesn't want to be completely honest about that. So unfortunately, I'll give her an Instagram post. But in her prime, unfortunately, her prime was full of rocks to deuce that. She provided great matches against players, and I like when she was on the losing end of those matches. But the matches she provided were great.
Got you. Now, our good sister Sloane Stevens.
I think, and I shouldn't say I think, I love where Sloane is transitioning in her career to being an on-camera personality in tennis. I just wish that she had showed more of that personality
Wow,
consistently
she played.
throughout her time on the tennis court in competition. I'm glad that she got her U.S. Open title, and she did it in kind of like magnificent, nobody saw that coming fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure where she's going to actually announce the retirement. She probably is going to try to do it on court somewhere. So for that, I'll give her the cake and ice cream, probably at the U.S. Open or something,
Probably
or
that's it.
Miami or something like that.
Miami might be perfect.
Miami, it should be U.S. Open. That's like thinking big. Miami or like Charleston, because she's won all those tournaments.
Yeah. All right, Stan Wawrinka.
He
Taking ice.
deserves a Roger. No, he deserves a Roger Federer standout kind of ceremony. I think he does, because he came out of the
Yeah,
shadow.
yeah.
He came out of the shadow of
Roger.
Roger and
Okay.
created his own legacy that's
Are you
going to
talking
put
about
him in
from
the
a
Hall of
Swiss
Fame.
perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was never supposed to be that good. He ended up being really good. Like he was going to be he was kind of supposed to be Richard Gasquet, but he's Richard Gasquet with actual big titles to his name. 3 Grand
Got you.
Slams,
Was able to achieve things.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got you. All right. Our good sister Venus Williams.
I feel like I keep seeing this picture of Kvitova.
That is Petra. Yes.
Yeah.
Petra Kvitova. Let's go back.
She deserves well, she's unfortunately in 2025 she's not on a great campaign of reminding people of just how great she is, because she's come back from maternity leave and has got one win over the span of like 4 or 5 months, which is not great. I think she should drop down a level if she's really serious about, like,
Coming back.
getting back on tour and not just kind of having a space in the draw via wild card. But if you take all that aside, her career definitely is warranted of a Roger Federer type send off in the Czech Republic for sure.
Okay.
2 Wimbledon titles, gave all the best in the world as much as they could handle on her best day. So I put her up there.
Perfect. All right. Our good sister Venus Williams.
Venus
Ebony Star Williams.
Venus Ebony Star Williams was indeed that her name said, in her prime, a star. Absolutely deserves, to me, in my household, a Rafael Nadal type of tribute.
That's an icon right there.
She's an icon. She was like, she opened up doors for women athletes to be athletic and strong, and also be entrepreneurs and be the face of brands. Like her Reebok deal back in the day was groundbreaking for what women are able to do now,
In
as
tennis,
far
yeah.
as it's in tennis and not tennis, to be a spokesperson and a brand ambassador for a huge apparel or sporting brand and be a woman and be a Black woman and do that. Like, she is groundbreaking. I just I just wish that she had a better relationship with the word retirement because the fact that she is kind of on thin ice with it is not great, and unfortunately a lot of people feel like she's played well past her prime, and unfortunately I tend to agree with them, because what she did after her amazing 2017 run is just, it's just, you kind of want to forget it, because a lot of those,
I think after that Coco loss at Wimbledon, I think
yep, that would have been a great time to naturally call it. Like, either that following US Open, or like 2020 ended up being awkward because of the pandemic, but 2020 would have been a great time to call it, because that was where it just was like, oh, she's not competitive really anymore.
Because when I saw her at the US Open in 2022, I was just like,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
little
because
past due, buddy.
yeah,
So
like, it's not fun anymore to see somebody that in their prime was giving people hell, to see them be like a complete shell of themselves. That's not fun. And I don't know what, I feel like she's gonna do the whole like ride off into the sunset and never officially retire. Meanwhile, she should absolutely be giving a huge platform to be celebrated and to be the 7-time Grand Slam champion, world number 1, Olympic medalist that she is, because she really is an icon. Her and her sister are icons. I want her to have that, but unfortunately it feels like the window of opportunity is closed. So,
all right, and our last person is one of your faves,
who's that?
Big Vika, big Vika,
I
Victoria Azarenka.
I really enjoyed Azarenka's career. She hasn't officially retired, but I definitely enjoyed what she brought to the tour. I've done this a couple times throughout this conversation. I remember where I was and what match specifically when I first watched Azarenka. Azarenka beat Martina Hingis in the 2007 US Open. And it was like a day session match. And I was like, who is this girl with this head extreme racket, grunting like this, from Belarus? I don't think I even knew Belarus was a thing, or like a country or a flag at that time. But she just automatically indelled herself into my brain. I was like, she's somebody I had to watch. So to kind of watch her grow from 2007 to all the way to world number 1 in 2012, I was happy to be along that ride. And the incredible matches she played against Serena, that she won a couple of times. And just she, if you take away what a lot of people said was an annoying grunt, I kind of got used to it. Her tennis was top tier in women's tennis. She stayed on that baseline, redirected everything as best as she could, and played with power and just grit. And I appreciate
That's the
Azarenka
era
a
where
lot.
all the girls were grunting. Because you remember that's when they were contemplating, oh, should we ban grunts? Like,
Yeah,
and all of that. I was like,
the
nah.
Sharapova and Azarenka peak years were rough, sonically, for sure.
So
But
who's worse? Vika, Sharapova, Sabalenka?
I think Sabalenka's the worst to me. Sabalenka's the one where I'm just like, oh, like,
You don't have to do
Vika and Sharapova, I was able to tune out sometimes. They had their moments where I was like, girl, bring it down. But Sabalenka is like, man, like, I'm all for grunting, but sometimes this is just super excessive to me personally. But I like Sabalenka for the most part. And Azarenka is,
Can't say that now.
Belarus is fun. I mean, you know what's crazy? Sabs has more Grand Slams and probably has more weeks at number 1, or is approaching world more weeks at number 1 than Azarenka.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But Azarenka's, her competition was literally, at the time, and still I think it's arguable, the best of the best. Like, she was going up against other Hall of Famers, whereas Sabalenka, she's going up against future Hall of Famers herself, but it's just not the feeling is different. Yeah.
The field isn't as deep. So
yeah, Azarenka had to go through like Wozniacki, Sharapova, Kvitova, Yankovic, Ivanovic, just to get to the final to meet Serena. So I respect that a lot. And Halep. She was in that Halep crew too.
And even, Pliskova at her best.
Yeah, like she had to go through all of those girls to even get to Serena to play in the final. And yeah, I respect Azarek quite a bit.
So where are we putting her at? We putting her right.
Oh, we can put her at Serena type actually.
Oh, okay.
We can put her there.
Okay.
I'm not sure which Grand Slam it would be at. Actually, Australia.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the Australian Open should have a ceremony for Azarenka whenever she decides.
How many titles does she have?
She only has 2, but it feels like they're a weighty 2, if that makes any sense. Like something about her 2 feel heavier than Kvitova's 2.
Oh, so she won Australia twice. Okay.
She won back-to-back years, 2012, 2013, but the rest of her resume kind of inflates those 2 Grand Slams, and I think they're stronger than Kerber's 3, Halep's 2 for sure, Kvitova's 2, Maresmo's 2, Lee Na's 2. I'd put Azarenka's career above all of
those. Got you. So that concludes our list, unless we're gonna place Marin Cilic again.
We can put him back in the Instagram post just for good measure.
Yeah, put him in there twice.
I can't believe that this little teal box is what you represented Halep with. That's insane.
Yeah, my bad.
That's insane.
That's her. I mean, hey, if it was Igor or Yannick, I probably would have did the same thing.
She did really have like a read it and forget about it type of retirement. You know, she officially retired this year, right?
Simona
Halep. She officially retired in like February of 2025.
And she came back and she thought she was going to get a warm welcome back to the game, which she kind of did.
And the only person that gave her a significant wild card was James Blake at the Miami Open. That was it.
And she got smoked. And then they were just
Did she even play a slam?
No.
I don't think she played a slam in her comeback. Yeah, she was once they took that Rock Sedusa out of her system, it was a wrap.
Yeah,
it was a wrap.
Shouts out to her. But yeah, that concludes. That concludes our tier list. I think we did well. Yeah, I think we did well.
That was fun. I like that we ended up with the tier that we ended up with. I'm sure somebody's going to watch this back once we post it and be like, that's not right. You're being disrespectful. Well, listen, we're talking about sports, ladies and gentlemen.
And we're having fun.
And we're having fun. And sports allows for a wide range of emotions and opinions and perspectives. And you don't have to agree with mine. I try my best to not be outright disrespectful of anybody or anything, but my opinions are my opinions, and you don't have to agree with them. If I start saying that I like bacon rather than sausage on my plate, I don't need you in the comments telling me that I'm disrespecting sausage. Okay?
That's funny.
Just saying. That's what they do. That's what they do. You can say, man, I really love some Fiji water. And I like Fiji water is the best. You don't respect Evian water? I didn't say that. I if you ask about Evian water, I may say, yeah, it's cool, but I prefer Fiji. But that's not how the internet works. And it's always somebody with the, like I said, Christmas tree. Yeah, Christmas tree or a cat and a username of,
Billy Joe Thornton 36458. Yeah.
Widowed wife 1995. Like, okay, whatever you say, girl.
Go away.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. That's a wrap, friends. Let us know what you think in the comments or review the episode and all that good stuff. Hope this will fill your content stomachs in between Roland Garros and Wimbledon. And make sure to follow Tuned Into Tennis across socials. If you're watching this back or parts of this back on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Tuned Into Tennis is dangerously close to finally cracking 1K subscribers. I'd love that. I'd love to see that. And thank you, Miguel, for coming up with this fun, engaging tier list. I definitely appreciate that.
More to come.
Stay tuned and Tuned Into Tennis. All right, y'all. Catch y'all later.